Okay, we're gonna get the show on the road. I apologize for any like weird lighting, but you're not really gonna be looking at me because we're going to be doing that recording that I have been promising everyone forever about oh my gosh, the recording for let me get this for the nutrition workshop that we did a while ago. So I'm going to get rid of some things here so I can safely show my screen. Okay. Not that I have anything bad, but you know what I'm saying. We don't want anything crazy popping up. You know what I mean? So let's get our Canva up and going. Um, so we will be going over the nutrition basics, building, see what I mean? Doing weird things, right? Building a healthier you, breaking down all the barriers of a healthier lifestyle. So, of course, hello, my name is Courtney Kopp. I am the owner and head coach of Fit But Fat Coaching, which is my nutrition coaching brand and online coaching brand, as well as the owner of Momentum on Main. I've been doing this for 7 years now. I have a lot going on. I'm sure I'm about to share all of that here in a moment, but I'm excited to bring you the nutrition basics. I will also send if I can figure out, I'm pretty sure I just download them to my computer. I can send the slideshow deck, which I will do all of that through email. So if you're watching this, you probably already have the slideshow deck. So if you don't and you're seeing this on YouTube, then because we are starting a YouTube channel. So if you are seeing this on YouTube, then you can just leave a comment with your email and I can send you a slideshow deck. Okay? Or I don't know that they have direct message on YouTube. We're learning. Okay. So let me make myself just a little bit smaller. Like, how do I get this out of the way? That works, right? Ooh, nope. Yeah, let's just do that. Okay. So this is me. This is my family. For education purposes, I am a certified personal trainer and nutritionist. I have been for 7 years. I am a functional metabolism specialist. That is my most recent accreditation. I am certified to order labs and work on more of the metabolic side of nutrition, which is really exciting in an area that I feel as though is not, I think it's talked about a lot, but there's not really much help. I feel like people just sell you supplements. If you're like, oh, your hormones are out of balance, they're just going to sell you a supplement. And that's not what I do. Of course, there are like supplements that I can recommend. Of course, I'm not diagnosing anything, but I can help you read your labs and work alongside with your doctor to get you some answers in terms of if you're having issues with like weight loss or if you're having issues with other things, we can get to the bottom of some things. Okay. So that's kind of what that is. Corrective exercise specialist. I'm not a physical therapist, but I can work alongside. You kind of see a common theme. I work alongside other professionals. I don't feel as though there's any one person that can like do everything for you. Yes, doctors have a lot of knowledge, but I do think having other care team members in your corner is really helpful, like for physical therapy, personal trainers, nutrition coaches, registered dietitians, chiropractors, doctors. I think all of us should really work together. So, yes, I have knowledge in corrective exercise, but I cannot diagnose any kind of injuries and things like that. Okay. Women's weight loss. Yes, I have a specialization in that. That's pretty straightforward. Women's weight loss. Behavior change specialist, that is another certification. So it's another certification, but it is more of the psychology side of things. So making sure that the changes that we are making are going to stay. So, of course, you can change habits like overnight, right? And they can stick for maybe a week, but it's the act of them actually sticking around and being a lifelong change, a behavior change, not a habit change, a behavior change that stems from changing our habits. And becomes a behavior is what like that is kind of centered around. So it's more of the psychological side of making your habits stick long term. And it requires a lot of questions being asked and you leading the charge and being and having a lot of autonomy in the relationship of coaching. All of this kind of encompasses my nutrition coaching and how I like to work with clients. You have to be invested. You have to have or want to have a lot of autonomy. I'm not going to just tell you what to do. You have to work with me and asking questions and giving me answers and being communicative and really striving to do a lot of things on your own because yes, I can hold your hand, but like at some point you have to let go of my hand and be able to do it on your own, right? So a lot of this, I mean, all of these specializations have a purpose in my coaching. Of course, I am macro certified as well. So that is macronutrients, and that's probably a big buzzword that everybody knows, tracking macros. Protein, carbs, fats. That is what that is. I am also pregnancy and postpartum certified. And I'll probably be like cycling through these things all over again because once you learn something, there's still so much to learn about those things. So I won't spend too much more time on my education, but I'm also in college to be a registered dietitian. Um, and so, yeah, there's a lot going on with education, and I feel as though we should forever be students and forever trying to learn, especially in our field, our career choice. So, yeah, I'll keep trying to expand my knowledge so that way I can give as much to you guys as possible, be your go-to. Experience, I've been a personal trainer, again, small group training, nutrition coach for 7 years. I've worked at the Y, F45, Eat the Frog, Trivergence, Indie Performance Authority it was a personal training studio. So a lot of these other ones were small group other than the YMCA, which is a big box gym. So, and then I started Momentum on Main on my own. So yeah, and I've had my own business since 2020. So this is year 5 for Fit But Fat coaching, and we've kind of just branched off. So Momentum on Main is just like another part of Fit But Fat coaching, but that is our big umbrella. Okay. Um, I have struggled, like, why do I do this? I've struggled with my weight and body image literally most of my life. I mean, like, I grew up in the 90s and the 2000s and where diets are still everything, right? Everybody's on a diet all the time. A diet, right? A diet is literally just the way we eat. But I've done every single diet that you could think of. I've done the grapefruit diet. I've done the military diet. I've done Slim Fast. I've done literally everything. The Atkins diet, literally went just to vegetables, but not even like vegan or vegetarian. I just ate vegetables. I've been on the poor man's diet where you just don't have money to eat. Like, I've literally been on every single diet. I've exercised and over-exercised. I have injuries from over-exercise, so I am very versed in that realm too. And I've mistreated my body a lot. And so this is the era in which I want to really step into like owning my body and taking care of my body and really trying to prepare myself for later stages in my life, but also still try to reach goals that I want to reach in terms of my weight loss and my weightlifting and things like that, right? My mission is to help people become more than their body and make lifestyle choices based on how it makes them feel, not just because of the scale. And that is very true. I want people to make choices that are going to benefit them in their life. I've made a lot of choices in which it just helped the scale go down. And yes, that can sometimes be what we need to do, but it shouldn't always be the basis of all of our choices, Exercise has literally changed my life. I hated exercise. I didn't like exercising. Exercise was punishment growing up. And I started exercising after I had my first son here. And I literally never looked back. Started working out 3 days a week. And it helped me with my postpartum depression. It helped me stay together with my now husband. And I like now have another beautiful little son there. And I have a career that I never could have dreamed of back then. So, Olympic weightlifting, these are my co-coaches. They're really my head coaches. Asia on it would be your right or your left. I don't know. My right. And Christina, she's on the left. So she's our yoga teacher, and like head coach in the gym. And then Asia is our head coach, on nutrition. So feel free to work with either one of them. They're so lovely. And then there's me. Momentum on Main. These are my two boys. I have rabbits and my dog and cat, Gizmo and Barry. And this is Flapjack. Okay. We love our life. Okay. So let's kind of dive into the big boulders. So I talk about nutrition in terms of like big boulders and little boulders. Yes. So big boulders are things that we need to tackle before we start kicking around little rocks. Big boulders, little rocks. Yes. And the big boulders are going to consist of four things, right? We have consistent movement, our nutrition as a whole. Okay. So we break it down, right? And there's like big boulders inside of these categories. So we have consistent movement, nutrition, sleep, and stress. And inside of these big boulders, consistent movement, things that we need to think about in terms of large boulders, not little rocks. And I'll kind of like give you the definition of both. We want to be moving 2 to 5 times per week. We want to be incorporating resistance training of some kind. And we want to be walking, getting steps. 2 to 3,000 steps is sedentary. Anything less than 5,000 steps is sedentary. But a lot of Americans now live around 3, 4, 5,000 steps. And they think that they are active, and that is not active whatsoever. Now, everyone thinks, oh, the gold standard is 10,000 steps, and that is not the case either. Steps will vary from person to person, lifestyle to lifestyle. I don't think you as a person that is starting out at 2,000 steps should jump straight to 10,000 steps. That doesn't sound like a method in which that is going to stick long term. Okay. Sometimes those extremes work, but most of the time they don't. So, sorry, I just kicked the desk. So what do I say when I think these are little rocks, right? We have big boulders and we have little rocks. And if you notice, the little rocks in movement would be programming, splits, cardiovascular, and functional training. And I think a lot of times people skip the big boulders and they go directly to little rocks because they think all of these things are going to make the difference in their progress. And in reality, these are the things that will make the biggest amount of progress. So like people will be working out maybe once a week or maybe twice a week. And then they're like hyper fixating on, okay, well, what's the perfect exercise to work my arm fat? And I'm like, well, that's not how that works. Consistently training, like if you're working out 2 times a week, then bumping that up to 3, 4, or 5 times a week. And again, we want to do that in a progression. If you're working out 2 times a week, probably start with 3, then go to 4, then go to 5. And doing that consistently before you start trying to figure out, well, what's the most perfect program? Because I'm just gonna let you in on a little secret. There's no perfect program. It's just a program that you follow consistently is going to give you the most results. Okay. There's no perfect program. It's just not. So when everybody's like, oh, this is the perfect program, that's a lie. It's just a marketing tactic to get you to buy the program. And it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a workout program, a nutrition program. There is no perfect program for everyone. So It's just not how it works. Is what program can you stick to consistently is going to be the perfect program for you. Okay, so a big boulder, again, are big things that are going to make the most progress. And these are just little rocks that are going to fine tune the progress that we're looking for. So let's go over some of the other ones. So we have 2 to 5 times a week on consistent exercise. We want to be regularly resistance training. That doesn't mean yoga, Pilates, cardio, things like that are not supposed to be in there. But resistance training is going to build the most muscle mass. So having that be like the meat of your program, and then having some cardiovascular training, maybe once a week or every other week, depending on what your schedule is and what things look like there. Regularly stretching, doing yoga practice, things like that. All of those things should be thought of in your program. So if they are very important to you, then make sure that you're incorporating them. So if you're only working out twice a week, and that's all your life has time for, then maybe, and yoga is really important to you, then having one yoga and one resistance full body workout every week would be wonderful. So there's 2 workouts, okay? You don't have to always do 5 resistance. Well, you shouldn't do 5 resistance training workouts and then have a yoga day and then have a cardio day. And then, well, you've run out of days. You know what I mean? So like you shouldn't be exercising every single day of the week. I know in our head, we feel like we're going to get more progress, but you shouldn't. Okay. Steps, we just kind of talked about that. Make sure we're walking more. If you don't want to have a watch that tracks your steps, maybe think about getting a pedometer that you can hook onto your shoelaces, or clip onto your belt loop that you can maybe just snap on a few times throughout the day and go on a quick walk, get a few thousand steps, and then go about your day and maybe do that twice. And you've probably already gotten 4,000 more than you normally would, you know? So that's something to think about for steps. Nutrition, whole foods. Again, let's look at our big boulders. We have whole foods, eating at home majority of the time. I do love eating out, so I will never say you should never eat out. Protein, fiber, and water. The little rocks, vitamins and supplements. Oh my gosh, supplements is a huge one. Everyone immediately jumps to what supplement should I take? What supplement should I take? What supplement should I take? You don't need any. You don't need any. If you're not doing these things, you don't need any. Okay. Um, Vitamins and supplements, minerals. I do think your vitamins and minerals are really important. But again, if you're eating whole foods and you're eating at home most of the time, you're eating fruits and vegetables, you're probably getting vitamins and minerals. Now, varieties of foods, again, that's like a little rock. Your variety, did I put that on here? No, I didn't. Your variety in foods is a little rock. Sometimes people need to have less variety to stick to things before they start feeling comfortable to add in more variety. So like don't obsess over variety. Sometimes you just need to stick to the same thing for a while, and then like a hyperfixation meal is what people call it, and then move on to another one. And you can work on building variety in those hyperfixation meals so that way it's not so overwhelming. But I'll get into that another time. Labs. Again, you don't need to jump to, oh my gosh, my hormones are all jacked up. If you're not doing any of this, if you're not doing any of this, don't be buying labs and doing all kinds of crazy stuff unless your doctor tells you so. Okay, I'm not a doctor. If they say you need labs, then get your labs. Macros, deficits. Again, a deficit you don't need to do if you're not doing any of this, because if you start doing this and you're not already doing that, it'll automatically put you in a deficit. You don't have to have a title to what you're doing if you're not already doing the big boulder things. So eating whole foods, that's like eating fruits, vegetables, meats, okay? Things that are not highly processed. Everything is processed. Almost everything that we eat is processed. When you cut an apple, it is processed. But what I mean by highly processed foods is like constantly eating out of the freezer or constantly eating fast food. Those are pretty highly processed foods unless you're looking at like corn that you steam in a bag. That's not usually it's processed because they cut the corn off the corn on the cob. You know what I mean? Like it is processed in some way, but it is fairly like one ingredient and frozen. Okay. So, don't take what I say and like make a whole like run with it and be like, I can only eat grapefruit. That's crazy. Okay. So you want to have whole foods eating at home most of the time. I allocate 1 day a week where I know that I will be eating out. Sometimes it's more than that and I eat out twice instead of just once. Protein, making sure that you're eating enough protein. Now don't go crazy and having like literally everything be protein only. I know some people that I say you should eat more protein and they like now only eat protein pancakes, protein ice cream, protein this, protein that, protein the it's literally everything is protein. And I'm like, okay, well, you can still have your normal foods because who wants to always eat protein everything for the rest of their life? Some people, that's a yes. Most people, that's a no. So, like, I still enjoy regular pancakes and I might have some chicken sausage, which is a leaner choice of sausage. Um, with my pancakes to account for the fact that my pancakes are higher in fat than a protein pancake, but it's way more enjoyable. So just incorporate more protein and kind of think about how you are stacking those things together. We'll talk about macros another time, but like you not everything needs to fit into your macros. They don't. It doesn't. It makes it unenjoyable and you won't want to continue. Okay. Fiber, that's a huge one. Freaking eat your fruits and vegetables, people. Eat your fruits and vegetables. That is how you're going to get fiber and drink water. One of these is not water. This is not water. Like this is water. There's flavoring in it, which is still water, by the way. That's a good segue. It's still water. It's enjoyable, but this is not enough for an entire day. You also don't need to drink a gallon, okay? I would just say drink until your urine is clear, and that is a good amount of water for you to start, okay? That's a big boulder. You can worry about how much water you're drinking later, but if your urine is clear, then we're probably doing pretty good. And over time, your body will build up tolerance and want more and more water to keep its kidneys doing their thing. You need water for your kidneys to work. Your body is made up of like 75% water. It's like three quarters water. Okay? Drink your water. Or two-thirds. It might be two-thirds. Three-quarters might not be the right fraction. It's either two-thirds or three-quarters, but they're pretty close. Okay, sleep. 7 to 8 hours or 7 to 9 hours are ideal for people. Of course, if you can't make this number work, if you're feeling well rested, that is most ideal. And sleep hygiene. Are you on your phone all the way up until the time you go to bed? Are you watching TV all the way up until the time you go to bed? Are you exercising right before you go to bed? Are you doing wind down activities that's going to help promote better sleep? If you're not, let's do those things because you'll have better night sleeps, even if you only get 6 hours. If you're having great sleep hygiene, you'll probably still feel pretty well rested, but 7 to 9 is ideal. Anything less than that is a little, sus. Stress management. Oh my gosh, people hate talking about stress management. I tell you, why do you want to be constantly stressed? Because we live in a world that's stressed. That shouldn't be normal. Being stressed is a silent killer, and being stressed all the time is what kills a lot of people. So, not to scare you or anything, but find hobbies that help you de-stress, decompress throughout the day. It doesn't have to just be like some big elaborate thing that you're doing at the end of every day. Just find little pockets of time where you're able to try to decompress throughout the day so that way you're not feeling so stressed all the damn time. Okay? Okay. We'll talk about stress management. Little rocks, again, supplements and like stress management. Little Rocks, stress management fits in both because I think some people try to overcomplicate it and make it like, oh my gosh, if I'm gonna journal to decompress, then I have to like put out a candle and get my favorite pen and like do all these things. And really, when you could just like get your phone out, journal in there, or write on a daggone post-it note your thoughts and feelings to decompress a little bit, you know? Okay. I'll try to skip through some of that real quick. So then we have macronutrition. The term macronutrition is short for macronutrients. Macronutrients are your protein, carbs, and fats. Okay, that's what macronutrients are. They determine the amount of calories in each food. So macros are really just a hold on. They determine the amount of calories. So calories are your measurement for energy, right? And then all of those calories are allocated into categories. So how much energy is coming from each category is what macros are. So people are like, I don't want to track macros, but I'll track calories. And I'm like, well, you're tracking both. Like if you track one, you're tracking the other. Like it's not that big of a deal. So it's when people put too much stress in trying to hit a protein, carb, or fat number. That's when it gets dicey, okay? When you put way too much weight into hitting those three numbers. Yes, we want to be close. Yes, we want to try to get there, and it may be uncomfortable to adjust your current dietary habits to meet those goals, but you're putting too much stress in those numbers, okay? So you have your energy source, which are your calories, and they're broken up into into categories, into your protein. So if I had 100 calories, maybe I had 40 calories that come from my protein source in my food. 40 calories from carbohydrates in this food. It's probably more like fats, 40 calories from fats, and then 20 from carbs. Okay, that sounds more like a protein source because it's going to have more protein and fat than carbs in a protein source. So anyway, that is kind of like a breakdown of macros. Now, this week we will be talking more about macros, so I'll probably do a little deeper dive in that than I will right now. But your protein is made up of amino acids joined together by peptide bonds. Your body just needs this in order to build muscle, okay? And normal cell function and structure. So most people know your body needs it to build protein. If you're not eating protein, well, then how do you expect to build lean muscle? If you're eating a lot more carbohydrates and fats, you'll probably have a higher body fat percentage. Not that these make fat, you're just not building in as much protein. And the more protein, or the more, sorry, you're not building as much muscle. And the more muscle you have, the more calories you will utilize at rest. Okay. So then we have carbohydrates, which are sugar molecules, which just means they are your body's energy source. Okay. Your body needs sugar to convert into energy. When you do not eat enough carbohydrates, what it'll do is it will take, and we'll talk about this again this week, it will take the sugar molecules from your protein, your muscle. Okay. It's going to take the sugar molecules that are in your muscle, break down your muscle, and convert that into energy before it breaks down the fat in your body. That's why when people go super low carb, they might lose a lot of weight. They also lose a lot of muscle doing that too. I'm not saying low carb is bad, but you just need to know that you're going to be breaking down more muscle than you will burning body fat, but the scale will be lower. Okay. Fats are essential fatty acids that the body cannot produce itself. So this is necessary for hormone production and to help with the absorption of a few vitamins right here, A, D, and E. Okay. So your body needs it for some sex hormones as well as to absorb vitamins. Then we talked about micro nutrition. So these are your vitamins. I didn't go over these line by line. What I'm gonna do again is just send you the slides. But these are very common vitamins that Americans are deficient in. I don't think that I ranked them from like most common to least common, but I also included where you can find these vitamins in your everyday foods. So that way you're not having to go out and literally buy all of these supplements. You can just try to incorporate some of these foods into your diet if you don't already have them incorporated into your diet. Again, this is a little rock. If you're not eating at home, then you're probably not getting these vitamins and minerals. But if you're eating at home and eating a lot of whole foods, then you're probably getting these vitamins and minerals. Okay. So micronutrition, vitamin D, vitamin B12, iron, sources of B6 are often related to deficiency. Iron is often related to a deficiency in B6. That's what I meant. So, vitamin C, B9, which is also folate, vitamin A, magnesium, calcium, omega-3, vitamin K, and creatine. So one thing I did bring up is everyone should probably have a vitamin D supplement because we live in Indiana, we don't get enough sun. So even in sunny places, most registered dietitians will recommend taking a vitamin D supplement of some kind. It's just going to help with immune function, mood regulation, just supports bone health, all of those things. So I think taking a vitamin D supplement, if I was to take anything, would be this, and creatine. Creatine helps to build muscle. Creatine also helps with cognitive function, which I think is really important as we get older. I think we all kind of see the effects of getting older and just not remembering things as much and just like struggling cognitively sometimes. So creatine has a lot of benefits. This is the most researched supplement out there. So I suggest taking a creatine powder. What did I tell people? Oh, I took it home. I think I took it home. My creatine. No, I didn't. Yes, I did. I took my creatine powder home. So I showed everybody what creatine powder I use, but I just got it off of Amazon. So you can just get literally any creatine powder. I don't always suggest the creatine gummies because they typically put like a lot of fillers in gummies and things. So I would say you're just in more control of your dose if you use a powder. For creatine, I'd start out with 2 to 3 grams, and you can work up to 5 or more. It does cause some water retention, so don't be scared of that because your muscles do need to like be pumped up, right? So it's going to have some more water going to your muscles, which may have you looking a little heavier on the scale, but that's okay. Again, we're building more muscle, which is going to utilize more calories. The scale is not everything. I promise, I promise, I promise it's not. Um, sorry, my friend sent me something. So here's some more information on creatine. Creatine improves strength and power. It helps regulate ATP, which this is your main energy source during high intensity exercise. So strength training. Okay. This leads to increased strength, power, and performance during activities like weightlifting, sprinting, or explosive sports. But the one thing with creatine is you have to take it every single day. You don't just take it on workout days, you take it every single day. Okay. You can't miss a day. Enhances muscle growth, exercise performance, aids in recovery, supports cognitive health. I'm not going to read all of this, but you can see right here in supporting conditions like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. So I think that's really important in itself. And there's a lot of research studies on creatine. So if you don't believe me, like look it up, read some studies. I'm telling you, creatine is amazing. Supports hydration and cellular function, benefits older adults. Safe. It's the most safe and well tolerated drug for the majority of Americans. So, again, extensively studied. Supports endurance athletes, may assist with blood sugar regulation. Emerging evidence suggests possible benefits for bone health and joint recovery. So I think it's a newer part. But again, dosage 3 to 5 grams per day. If you feel like you're getting really bloated at 5 grams, and just back it down a little bit. I take 5 grams, but I've been taking creatine for a while, so it doesn't bother me. And I think I started out like around 5 grams, so I didn't have to go up little by little. So don't be scared to just go for 5 grams if you'd like. Um, so yes, you can start loading up to 20 grams if you want to get that high for 5 to 7 days. But again, for most people, 3 to 5 grams, like honestly, that's plenty. That's plenty every single day. If you want to do a little bit more, that's fine. So building a balanced plate. When we look at our plate, we have 3 categories. We have our veg fruit, we have our protein, and we have our carb starch. And you're probably looking at me, well, like both of these are carbs. I know, but this is going to be a higher source of energy in your carbs and starches, and they are good for you. So don't come for me. Yes, eat your pastas and rice. And then fruits and veg is going to be more of our fiber. So even though they both have carbs in them, carbs are not bad for us, and we need a lot of them because we need a lot of energy, right? So, what was I going to say? Hold on one second. Come on in. How you doing? Hi, I'm doing a podcast, so just go ahead and start warming up. Oh. Yeah. Yes, yes. So, in terms of your plate, we want to make sure that we're getting a good amount of fiber. So this is going to help add volume to our plate, get a lot of fiber. And then this is going to give us like the satisfaction of eating carbs, because who doesn't like rice and pasta, right? Also give us more energy. There is a little bit of fiber in these things, but again, you're going to get more from your fruits and vegetables. You'll also get more volume because these don't have a whole lot of caloric value. Whereas your carbs and starches, the reason why there's a smaller amount on your plate is because they do have a higher calorie allotment. And then you have your protein, of course. Your protein could probably take up a little bit more. So if you need to eat a higher protein diet, you could probably cut this to where it's kind of like this. You have more protein on your plate, which is going to help you feel real full for a while. A little bit of carbs and starch, right? To add in that, like, this tastes delicious. We love this, and the energy, and then a lot of fruits and vegetables. So, this is, I mean, this could be like cut in a bunch of different ways, but these are the 3 categories. We want to always have more fruits and vegetables on our plates. Carbs and starch is going to be a little bit smaller, and then our protein should also be either the same size or a little bit larger than this. We could probably cut this way too if we needed to. So, making sure you have a variety in your foods. Again, we need to go back to the big boulders and little rocks, right? We want to make sure that we're eating whole foods before we start focusing on the variety in our foods. But variety in foods helps us have better variety in our vitamins and minerals, and helps to negate the issues when it comes to deficiencies. Need more volume, add more veggies. Need to feel more full for longer, add more protein or fiber. So, like I said, this can be modified if we need to make this part the protein, right? And then we still have a larger amount of vegetables and still the same amount of carbs. You can do that. If you're eating a little bit lower carb, you're in a deficit, then maybe it looks more like this, where it's bigger protein here, less carbs, more fruits and vegetables type of thing. Not going to the bathroom regularly, add more fiber. Feeling really tired and sluggish, add more carbs, or time out the carbs throughout your day. Try not to eat super high carb meals at once because it can come with energy crashes as well. Okay, so making sure that you're not just eating protein for like breakfast and lunch, and then you're just eating all carbs for dinner, or like only eating carbs in the morning and then protein for the rest of the day. Like make sure it's balanced throughout the day type of thing. Before you start macro tracking, drink plenty of water, eating vegetables and fruits at most meals, eating at least 4 ounces of protein at almost every single meal. I know breakfast can be a little bit hard, but you can get 4 ounces of protein, trust me. Like 2 eggs, some chicken sausage, or regular sausage, or whatever, bacon. You can get protein that way. All right, or yogurt. Literally, there's a million ways. Eating regularly at home, feeling confident about making balanced meals. Do all of those things before you start thinking about macro tracking. So this is a nutrition label. I'm gonna just kind of go over this real quickly if you don't know how to read a nutrition label. So at the top, you have your serving size. This is just a guide. This is not like a hard, fast rule. 2/3 cup on whatever this is, I probably eat two of them. I typically don't follow the serving size. You only need to know the serving size for like all of this information. So this is not a hard, fast rule. I used to think that you could only eat 2/3 cups. Like that's all I could ever have. And it was so small, so sad in terms of a serving. Calories. There's your calories. This is how much energy is in the food. We might go over in our macros. Actually, we will in our macros about how food companies can lie. They can lie. This number cannot be true sometimes. So we will go over that math later because it's going to take me too long to explain it. But this number can be false sometimes. So a lot of times when you see 100-calorie snacks, they're not usually 100 calories. It's just a marketing tactic, and they are allowed to do that. Nutrient breakdowns. This is how much energy, right, is allocated into the different categories. And then these are just little like micros. So this is not a category, but these are just micronutrients inside of that. So you have your fat, and then it's broken down into saturated and trans. So this is your total fat. Then you have your total carbohydrate allotment, and then your protein allotment. Okay. What should I eat? Anything is game. There are no restrictions when it comes to having a healthy diet. Um, Moderation and planning is key. So, what my coach told me today was it's okay to eat out a lot, but you can't eat like it's your last meal every single time you eat out. Like, that's a good rule of thumb. You can't eat out like it's your last ever loving meal. Okay. Having balanced meals, making sure that you have protein, carbs, and fats, and then read your nutrition labels if you're unsure on if it's going to work for you. These percentages, if you didn't know, are your quickly daily value guide. 5% or less is low, and 10% or more is high. So there's sometimes foods that say, oh, this is high in protein, but it's like 5%, it makes up 5% of the total calorie allotment on the thing. They can do that because again, it's marketing. It can be like 5% and it's really not high protein. Or it's like 8%, and it's at, and say that it's high protein, but it's actually 8% on a normal food. Like let's take bread, for example. If it's 5% of it is protein, like let's say this 3 grams, oh, they can say this is a high protein bread. And you're going to look at that and be like, oh, 3 grams in bread? Because you think of it as just a carb. And you could look at a regular bread and it also be 3 grams, but it doesn't say high protein. That is called marketing. Read your labels at the grocery store, save yourself some money. Okay? Don't just always buy things that say high protein just because they say that. Meal planning. A full day meal style plan or full day style of meal planning means you're like cooking one or all of your meals in one day. Not my favorite way of meal planning or prepping. Um, I know a lot of people like that where they just have them all ready to go throughout the whole week, but I don't. It's gross to me. So everybody's different. These are all different kinds. You can also just prep a protein and have 1 to 2 sides. So it's not a meal, but you're making a few components that you can throw together in a bowl to make a meal when you like on a need basis. Chop and wash your vegetables. Have all that stuff ready to go. It's not necessarily you planning out a meal, but you're having all those things conveniently ready for you to eat throughout the week. Create a menu for your week, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. That's another option. You can, of course, do any one of these by itself or combine them to make it, customized for you. Prep your meals the night before, make your breakfast the night before, pack your lunchbox, throw it in the fridge, whatever you need to do. Cook extra food when you're in the kitchen. Think about your future self. That's something I always do. If I'm doing something in the kitchen, I don't want to be in there like 5 times in one day. Try to do something while you're already in there. You know what I mean? Think about your future self and what they need and go ahead and do that while you're already in there. Pre-log and don't be a daggone baby about leftovers. Okay? I think this is our last slide. Oh no, we have one more. Maybe. if you're falling off track, just keep going. You've never fallen off if you keep going. That's literally the only thing. If you take anything away from the slide, just keep going. It's not going to be perfect. What think about what's not working. What can I adjust to make it work? What have I been consistent enough or have I even been consistent enough to determine if it's not working? A lot of times we say, oh, this isn't working, this isn't doing it, and we're not even doing the work. So obviously it will never work if you're not doing it. A lot of people will hire a coach and then not do anything and be like, oh, it didn't work for me. You didn't do anything. You didn't do it. You didn't do it enough to even see if it was going to work. What are your priorities? What is your why? What needs to get done right now in this moment and what doesn't? What are your non-negotiables? So these are like all questions you should be asking yourself if you feel like things are not working. Okay. Because if what you're doing and your priorities don't align, well, then yeah, you're not going to continue to try to be consistent. What needs to get done is not always like what you're doing. So, make sure that aligns as well. What are your non-negotiables that you have? And what are the minimums for those to move the needle, right? So like, let's say your steps. When life situation is blowing up, can you step away and refocus your energy on what you can control in that moment? Yeah, that's a big one. Like deaths in the family, that's a really big one. If shit is hitting the fan, then maybe you should just take a step back and focus on just eating at home and doing some basic things and not necessarily trying to make progress in the scale. Okay. Hold on. I got to open the door one more time. What can you, deprioritize for the time being? This can look like spending less time, dropping something, reverting to something else, taking a break with intention. It's not an easy way out, an excuse, or a failure. So you're in frame, just so you know. What can you deprioritize for the time being? I think that's a big one. Like when things are happening in our life and we're like really struggling, we always feel like we should be still mastering life, still making progress in our fitness goals. And sometimes we don't need to do that. The best thing is to not do those things, and to like maybe not be tracking or spend less time exercising and just like doing the other things that we need to do to take care of our mental health and ourself as a whole. Okay. So yeah, thank you. That is all I have. I will be uploading this to YouTube and sending this to you in an email. So I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And with that, I just want you to let you know showing up is the hardest part. Continue to do it because it does make a difference in your life. Continue to show up for the hard shit. Okay? We can do hard things. Have a wonderful day.